April Ryan exposes leadership at the National Association of Black Journalists. We've had April Ryan on the program before. We should have her back. Here it is.
The same thing with April Ryan. I watch her get up. I mean, you talk about somebody that's a loser. She doesn't know what the hell she's doing.
Are you going to include the Congressional Black Caucus and the Congressional
Well,
Hispanic
I would.
Caucus?
I tell you what, do you want to set up the meeting? Do you want to set up the meeting?
No.
Are they friends of yours?
I'm just a reporter.
Put it up full mass. Hell of a thing. We've been talking about it this week. Well, she has every right to be upset, by the way. Trump is speaking at an event for Black journalists. And now she and the griot are exposing the process that led up to why VP Harris was not appearing at the event. Now, remember, Trump is at the event. Hell, I think he spoke an hour ago, but Trump is at the event, okay? And according to the report that came out yesterday after Indisputable, we had more context for why VP Harris was not at the event. Initially, they said that basically the organization was like, no, we good. With millions watching and many people benefiting from this program called Indisputable, we just need 1% of the viewers to become a paid member so we can continue to bring this content to you. Now back to the show. There's more to it. So according to Ryan, the source told the griot that Harris is unable to attend the convention, which begins July 31st and ends August 4th due to planning and travels during the first days of the presumptive Democratic nominee's presidential campaign. Harris is also traveling to Houston to attend the funeral service of the late U.S. Representative Sheila Jackson Lee, Democrat out of Texas. The source also told the griot that the Harris campaign worked very closely with NABJ leadership to find an alternative option. The team, according to the source, denied a request for the vice president to take part in a fireside chat virtually or schedule an in-person chat with Harris at a later date. Declined to do both. Multiple sources told the griot that NABJ leadership feverishly asked the vice president's team to consider a virtual town hall following the report that NABJ initially declined their suggestion for a virtual panel. The griot was told that Harris's team had moved on after being told no by NABJ leadership. NABJ leadership also requested a VP surrogate in her absence. My dear brother, Roland Martin, has something to say about it. Here it is.
I'm also angry that NABJ turned down Vice President Kamala Harris's request to appear virtually and to take questions. You and I are talking on Skype. We do satellite interviews. So why could NABJ accommodate her since she's in Atlanta today, Houston tomorrow with Sicker Gamma Row, and the funeral of Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee on Thursday? This is a failure of NABJ's leadership, and it's hard for me to say this. I'm a life member. I'm in the Hall of Fame. I'm a 3-time board member. This is my 35th year. But this is where leadership failed to factor all of these things in. Initially, I was going to leave because I got to go to Houston for Sheila Jackson Lee's funeral, but I'm going to be there. And I'm telling you, if that man lies and they do not challenge him, you're going to hear somebody from the audience say, stop lying. Because we as journalists must be arbiters of truth. We cannot and should not be so graceful in allowing somebody to lie in front of us, especially somebody with his history.
Yeah, Roland Martin is telling the gospel truth once again. And naturally, this is something that is baffling to everyone, including myself. I'm a member of NABJ. I'm not a lifelong member like my dear brother. I do mine annually. All right, put them up full mass. Okay, here we go. NABJ President Ken Lemon said in an official statement issued on Wednesday morning that following Harris's team informing them she was unavailable for an in-person panel, the last update NABJ received was that she would not be available in person or virtually during our convention. And so he added, they did not indicate when NABJ received, he did not indicate when NABJ received that last update. It may be a little bit of wordplay there is the point. The statement commented on how the moderators were selected and if the black press would be included. How were the moderators selected? So you got Rachel Scott, ABC News, Harris Faulkner, Fox News, which is a tragedy. Kadia Goba, they were recommended by NABJ. And prior to the convention, NABJ directly reached out to black press at the local and national levels to ensure they receive media credentials. Special attention has been given to the black press to ensure they have appropriate placement for coverage during the event. Quote, how will the black press be included prior to the convention? NABJ directly reached out to the black press at the local and national levels. So here's what the statement said. Here's what the statement said about checking an audience questions, fact-checking audience questions, as our dear brother was talking about. Quote, will the event be fact-checked? NABJ is working with PolitiFact to provide live fact-checking updates using the hashtag NABJ fact-check. A link to view live updates will be available here. Okay, so will questions be taken from the audience? No questions will be taken from the audience. So during a previous appearance on our show, Ryan would explain the importance of questioning leaders.
The independent press is there to ask questions of the president and his principals. And at issue is questions that range from war to peace and everything in between. And I ask questions from war to peace and everything in between. It's important that we ask, especially as life and death is written and spoken from that space. So my issue was, I didn't do anything wrong. I asked questions because I was supposed to do it for my job. And after a while, it in the last administration, it became a challenge, and I had to really figure out, is this what I wanted to do? But I also I took the emotion out of it and looked at it for what it was. I did nothing wrong. So, and if I walked away from it, I would negate everything my late mother and father did for me.
April is a real one, all right? So here we go. Tia Mitchell, who restored her social media account, would respond, and she's the chair member. She responded to Ryan's reporting. Now, remember, we've already had a co-chair that resigned basically out of protest here. So first, I want to clarify what my role is in all of this. I was the connector. I used my contacts to engage the Trump and Biden and then Harris campaign about speaking at NABJ. Once Biden and Trump confirmed I was involved in planning, I worked hard to try to get Harris. 2, when Harris's team indicated she was likely not going to be able to come to NABJ in person, I had combos with her staff encouraging them to offer surrogates to see if NABJ would accept. I knew that NABJ was already trying to get Oprah or Obama, so I asked if Harris could help. 3, but staff was also told that officially from NABJ leadership, the ask was for Harris. That was always the position of NABJ president and executive director Drew Berry. They never offered surrogates or accepted surrogates to my knowledge. 4, I saw Megan Thee Stallion was coming to Atlanta as a surrogate. She is also coming to Chicago this week by coincidence. I had the idea that Harris's team help us get Megan for a wider convo, not just about politics. I made it clear this was my idea and not an official NABJ offer. You're the chairperson. Is kind of official when you say it. That convo did not go anywhere. The person didn't even reply to my text. NABJ higher ups probably had no idea Megan was part of the convo until they read April's tweet. I did not discuss my idea with anyone. Apologize to NABJ leadership for speaking out of turn. 6, my goal at the time was to try to to a place that NABJ would say yes for something. That text was sent Monday at 7:31 p.m. before the firestorm was fully underway. I hate that my private efforts to bring NABJ and Team Harris to agreement are now being twisted. 7. But I want to reiterate, the call was always President Lemon and Ed Berry's to make. That's your president and executive director. And I respect the decision that they want Harris and not a surrogate. I do not want any of my private efforts to be used to undermine the decision that was ultimately theirs to make. 9, I stand behind NABJ's decision to invite former President Trump to answer questions from Black journalists relevant to the Black community. I remain hopeful that NABJ members will get to hear from VP Harris in the same way in some fashion. And then Roland Martin would respond to Mitchell's thread. I see, and then he provides her tag, still has me blocked. But she posted this. Y'all can read the thread. What she never addressed is what I reported. Why did NABJ leadership refuse a virtual Q&A with VP Kamala Harris? That part. Now, if you really read all of the commentary from the president, from Ms. Mitchell, and these are fine people. These are great people. I think some folks made a few mistakes here, all right? This is not a personal indictment on anybody. This is a professional critique. When you read it, you will see clearly there's some wordplay here. As Roland Martin put it back in the forefront. In other words, let the main thing remain the main thing. Why did you refuse the opportunity for the virtual meeting? Why? There's more. As many predicted, Trump would use the situation to create a stunt and harass VP Harris. So here it is. Crazy Kamala disrespectfully refused to attend the National Association of Black Journalists Conference. But I am on my way to meet them now in Chicago, because of which she'll probably end up doing. She has no choice, but remember, it is only for that reason. End quote. Jamil Hill, who initially defended the decision from the National Association of Black Journalists, had a change of heart after this post by Trump came out. Again, just go ahead and rescind the invitation. That's my girl. All right, that's what I'm talking about. I hated to say something about you the other day, but that's what I'm talking about. Yes, because we knew he would do this, all right? We knew this was going to happen. We knew he would gaslight. We knew he would manipulate. We knew he would use it in order to create a false narrative going into the damn conference. The man didn't even wait for you to ask a question before he started lying. This is why it was required to be on point with this whole thing. Okay, all right, I know it's a lot of twists and turns. Yeah, some thoughts here.
Yeah, identity politics, whether we like it or not, I think is going to play a major role in this coming election, unlike anything we've ever seen before. And it was always going to be a thing, but now with Harris presumably on the ticket, we can probably expect to hear a lot more about identity politics, maybe more from the right than from the left. From the left, we'll hear a lot of celebration that there is a Black/brown woman as the Democratic nominee. On the right, however, we'll see them scrambling. We will see them attempting to sow division among Democrats, particularly Democrats of color. We'll hear them telling people that Kamala Harris is not that impressive. She's a DEI candidate. They're already saying that. She's not out here for Black people, for brown people, or for women. They're already panicking over the fact that she's got a Jewish husband. Leave it to Trump, a non-Jew, to tell Jewish people that they're bad Jews. Republicans are already trying to push Usha Vance on us as well, as a brown woman, while somehow also being racist towards her. That doesn't make any sense to me. But they'll attempt to weaponize issues and people against each other, because that is what they do. That's how they win elections, is by sowing division. And they'll spend whatever money they have to reach their goals. And it's disappointing that any of this with the NABJ has happened. And April Ryan was completely right to ask what is going on and why.
Yeah. Hopefully there's cohesion after this. Okay.